Yeah. This part is exactly I talk about the Shibuya. Shibuya じゃねえよね。I should do. It's kind of the how the character, how you manipulate the reader's eyes, kind of the or a bit difficult. I'm sorry. I move this camera and show the pages. That's a bit difficult. I need different. You know, this it goes this way, and the here is I have to draw this guy hold the garden up. But if you let you show without this part, the people just read it on straight. Just if it was the movie, just show this, and show this, and it can do from here and go up. But because this is manga, you can do this. So instead of this, I just draw here to read that I go down. Once it's down, so according to this, people hear nothing. So without knowing reader's eyes, people I look down, and from here go up. This is something like it's kind of manipulated way. And the other thing is that, for instance, the background. This guy meets the girl and go her home. So here's her room. I show where they are, and where how they placed, and what kind of her room. Very ordinary girl's room. So once I showed this room, so after that, I'm not so really in background. It's very typical in Japanese manga. As background actually minimum. So this is kind of the information. What where she lives, what kind of the house she lives, and what kind of the room. It's a pink and very girly. The flower is here, and the very ordinary plain desk, and the chair is a check chair and check some pillows and little stuffy doll, something like this. And after just the the sort of what I say mental background, and Tori is kind of this kind of stuff. It's a gag scene, the mental background, this and as well. There is no just only this part. Just the they need sometimes you need to show the background for the keep readers' attention. Yes, it's the same places, and how the place has a relation of as place wise, and again just the nothing background, and here is this guy's memory. It's kind of explanation, so it's kind of the memory, and again back the room. So just this part is a bit different. It never drawn here, so this curtain is very important. You drawing this curtain, people understand the same room. Of course, there is no story-wise, they stay the same place. So people know the same room, but still, it's kind of a little utterance for readers. And again, this board kind of she is the sort of the person taking the photographs on the wall on this kind of little board. So not so. Just the point. Maybe now one page, almost is only one. Just a trifle background. That's totally minimum. Then this is sort of short manga. So if it was shonen manga, it's a bit different. Maybe more background.
Okay.
Or if it was a seinen manga, is more
Yeah.
background. It's because the seinen manga it's going they can depend on how realistic the story is. That's all that depend.
Oh, okay.
So it's something. It's kind of the composing way. Then of course the people care about the how the artist how that the balance is nice or steady. So according to this framework, you can show you can and give the readers an unsteady feeling or steady feeling, uneasy or uneasy, secure. So lot of things like straight or give some you can see like this angles
Angles.
like this. So there are a lot of way on the many artists invented because the manga has a 50 years history.
Yeah.
And from after the first Tezuka made it as his era, he did a very very remarkable sensational revolution. Like he's introduced the film technique in the manga, the close up or moving as very very dynamic action. Then after the many people, as invented like the Toriyama Akira or Otomo Katsuhiro, they are both very, very big landmark in manga history. So, and still, as a manga artist, many manga artists invent as new techniques. Some of them was very welcomed the whole manga world. So many, artists take the way, and some of them has failed. So it just only many artists agree that kind of the technique is survive, and it's made history, and the kind of starting to as be established as a manga technique. So actually, it's been very very difficult to tell how to composing. And as long as I know, there is no book how to composing. It's good how to composing. Just only one book I knew is the Ishinomori Shotaro. That's a very classic manga artist. He take his work and he translate all his work and why I do this, how I do these kind of things. Like I told you now. And I did that just briefly, but he took his one-shot manga. I believe 40 or 50 pages. It's a short manga, but he explained what he meant or why he did and how he did things. It's a very good example. But it's just examples. He didn't explain all the manga techniques, but he showed how manga artist should think and how manga artist should compose. So I can tell you that I can teach, and here I can as this is impossible, too wide, too big. If you want to tell all the techniques or the composing way, and of course I don't know everything. So it's kind of share my knowledge and share my experience, and I suggest some your storyboard. So it's kind of the practice and you learned not the each technique, but kind of the whole idea or how to think, how to compose. That is I think the manga composing way. There's only one thing is how to learn the manga composing. Yeah. Clear?
Yeah. So I notice in your manga you have many of the dialogue bubbles very round like this, so you can read it very easy in English. But in Japanese, do you change the dialogue bubbles to be up and down?
Yeah.
Okay. I was
Sort of,
wondering.
you mean vertically long.
Yeah, vertical.
Mm. This, this manga is a little bit, it's a bit weird one because I was asked the kind of the Western style. I was asked Japanese manga, but in Western style, that's comic style. So I write the dialogue. I write this in Japanese, but no, write the dialogue in what I say horizontal, not the vertical. So naturally, the bubbles like this shape, but that does make me a bit irritation because, for instance, you here I see maybe here. So you lead this way,
Yeah,
and lead this way, and if it was Japanese, like this, you lead this way.
yeah,
So you, or I mean audience, I go like this because the dialogue wrote in a vertical. But in a Western style, you read like this, so the eyes tend to go here.
yeah,
So it's very frustrating for us, Japanese manga artists. We manipulate readers' eyes this way, so we can avoid, because Japanese manga is very, I say the stream is very strong. This in this case is supposed to read like this. This one is a very Japanese style. So in this case, you're supposed to read like this. In this case, like this. But no, this stream is very strong, so disturbing. It's very difficult to manipulate reader's eyes. Go this vector.
yeah,
That's only this vector is too strong because there is no vertical.
yeah,
There's no essence of this down. So if it is a Japanese, it's according, of course, you did to this, but here this very strong vector here. So without knowing, people read like this and like this. The Western style always go like here, so it's a bit annoyed. That's what I realized it. And one thing I think this one is sort of a translation. So sometimes might be very frustrating for maybe an English speaker because like this, just only one word or two words at the most for one line, because this shape, this is a very vertically long dialogue.
Yeah, I have that problem too.
But thanks for this, you always, that's kind of a little bit similar effect with the vertical dialogue. Because you read like this and get the end and bounce, go back. So
yeah. When
it's very,
we were in America, many people who were not used to reading manga from Japan would often complain about like having to learn to read it from right to
this one idea, this one is
oh yeah, that's right.
Go back, yeah.
I remember that chart.
Yeah.
And the I have heard someone said, I don't really remember, from Canada or somewhere, and a girl says that she read all the dialogue first and look the picture. And a bit of a surprise for me, because for Japanese, and when you read manga, dialogue and picture as the same kind of the what I say, the value is same, the weight is same. A dialogue and of course this kind of the SFX, it's kind of the SFX is part of the drawing. Even the dialogue is part of the drawing. So we not so really care about the read, more like look or watch. I think it's not of course we read it because it is a book, but actually more like feeling like watch it, something like watching the movie. The no effect, no effort. You don't need no effort to read because it's a very short sentence, very limited dialogues, and almost the story told in the picture drawings. So, and they're actually, I don't know what the English readers, but the Japanese readers very quick to read. That's very, very quickly they read. And one, 20 pages, maybe 3 or 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That's the Japanese speed. Average, it's kind of the, I've heard the one station. When the one editor says it's supposed to be the one station, each station you can stop to read, and off the train. So that's one station, the one chapter, and the monthly magazine, or no, sorry, not monthly magazine, as a weekly magazine.
Yeah. That
so
makes
it's
sense.
kind of. So they are manipulating. So I'm not sure. So this storyboard technique, well, I can tell you is a Japanese technique. So it's kind of the this way how to manipulate readers' eyes as the vertical dialogue is a very, very important element. Without vertical dialogue, some of the storyboard technique doesn't exist. I can't stand it. But I don't know, because it's not intended, but the fact that it's just very, very coincidence. I don't know, it's happy or unhappy, but this kind of dialogue is might be very difficult to read, or might be very sort of irritated for our Western people, or even us. We Japanese people, we just only one word or two words will be difficult to read, but still, this way you got the stuck to go back. It's without knowing it's something like same effect. It's kind of the vertical. Always you need to go here, not directly this way, but this way. Still, so that kind of you can manipulate it. So anyway, go back. So not straight up here. So this page. Anyway, go back. So you can avoid people look this side. That's pretty nice for me, actually. So I'm not sure. It's maybe in the future. I don't know. Some Western people might invent something special. Kind of the mixture of the manga way and the comic way, or the manga way and the English or whatever way. So the kind of the vertical, not the vertical, but horizontal some language. I don't know.
I know for me personally, the last manga project that I worked on, I wanted it to be read here in Japan and also for English readers. So most of the time when I make the dialogue, it's almost like a circle. It's not up and down or left to right. It's just round, because you can't. It's too different. it's too difficult to pick one shape.
Yeah, this is one way. So you draw this way, you need to fix this. This is a very, very big problem. I tend to read as I go here, and so look next page before the reader read this or reader look at this. That is a very, very big problem. So if this is very different from the comic, and the comic is I'm not the big comic fan. I'm not so really big knowledge about comic, but as long as I know the comic, it is very each frame, each panel is very closed. The world is completed in each panel. So in the comic, this case is okay because the world is closed in this panel. So audience not go straight here or go straight here. Anyway, here and here is each independent. But in manga, it's all the panel is very, very closely relevant and influence each other. So the people always go lead with the certain speed. So in that case, this kind of dialogue is a bit problem. And not sure what when as a human you can't stop to go through this to go the eyes go away this way. So I don't know how to solve this problem because the Japanese manga is at first no the Tezuka-sama started kind of Japanese manga. I don't think he intended about this kind of as I think he had no idea about this kind of the problem. Of course, he have read English or some American or the Western comics, or he knew about the Western cartoons, but still he has no idea these kind of things. But Japanese manga after him has invention is developed the vertical way, and before Tezuka-sama, Japanese manga is the same, something the same in Western comic. Each panel is very independent. It's sort of very monotonous, something like, for instance, here's 2 pages. So, like something like this, and they are usually 2 character here, and for instance, hello, hi, bye, see you. Very, very flat. It's kind of something like you looking the theatrical play. It's very monotonous. But it's after Tezuka-sama with he invented the close-up or as a very, very dynamic panel work. So that all depend we lead things like this. So if the so in that case, this is each panel is very what I say it's kind of no connection, but in this case each panel is very very deeply influence each other, and this case time same. For instance, if I tell this, for instance, is 10 seconds. 10 seconds between panel 1 to panel 2. So here is 10 seconds. This as well 10 seconds. But in this case, maybe this could be 20 seconds. This is just 1 second.
Yeah.
That's because so each panel the artist manipulate how the speed is using this speed line or the character's expression or how the move. So this kind of the dynamism we can get because of this movement. I'm not sure, but maybe so like you and Western people and they're very very familiar with the manga and at the same time very familiar with Western comic. This kind of the you maybe can reach some new technique. I hope for something that make new is that you need to understand both of them very well. So you need kind of like translation. If the translation is if you speak Japanese and English very fluent, it doesn't mean you can't translation. You can't be a translator. Being a translator, you need to very very big knowledge about your mother tongue and your foreign language. Both of the you need the deep knowledge about the culture or customs, not only language. And the same way, at the same time, they need to very wide knowledge about the field. For instance, if you translate manga, you need very wide knowledge about the manga field. If you translate the, for instance, science fiction novel, you need very, very big, knowledge about science fiction history or how the art, the work is there, or sort of things. That's the same. You need to understand when you need, digest. You need to digest how the Japanese manga storyboard idea, and you need to digest the Western comic idea. Then you can reproduce something new. Yeah, I think so. And did you have any difficulty when you tried the as a round speech bubble manga?
Well, I'm still working on it.
Reading.
Oh, reading it?
I'm so used to manga. I never read Western comics, so I never had a problem even reading it in English.
So you're from the first to get this kind of the vertical, this kind of very the long speech bubble.
Yeah.